I'm here with Senator Bernie Sanders, an independent from Vermont, to talk about the debate in Syria that's officially getting started this week in the Senate. Now, Senator Sanders, you've expressed concern about the president's plan as well as the resolution that passed the Senate Foreign Relations Committee last week. Are you a no at this point on a strike in Syria?
Well, I don't know what the final resolution will look like, so I think it's smartest to keep your mind open and hear what people have to say. But as you've indicated, I have very, very deep concerns, A, about the proposal of the president, which essentially is that the United States unilaterally goes into Syria, and B, what I can tell you is that about 95% of the telephone calls and emails that I'm getting from the state of Vermont are telling me to vote against this resolution. I take that seriously.
What would a resolution need to say to get your support?
Well, I think the point is right now is what the American people are wary of is that we have been in a war in Afghanistan for 11 years. We've been in a war in Iraq where we've lost 4,600 soldiers. And I think what the people of this country want is for the President and the United States Congress to start focusing on the issues of concern to the people. There is a reason, Jackie, why the Congress has a 15% approval rating. And that is people are worried about jobs. They're worrying about inadequate incomes and declining wages. They're worrying about the growing gap between the rich and the poor. They want Congress to address those issues. And suddenly, out of nowhere, we're into a third war in Syria. People have their concerns.
So, but what could a resolution say? Would it have to be, I mean, they're talking about, the White House keeps on talking about how extremely limited this is going to be. Do you need, exact
Let me tell you
parameters?
about extremely limited. As you may be aware, what ended up coming out of the Foreign Relations Committee significantly broadened what the president was talking about. John McCain got a language in there which talks about changing the momentum on the ground, democracy in Syria. And you know what that is about? That's called regime change. That's called staying with it until Assad is overthrown. And I think we have learned enough from Iraq and Afghanistan to understand that there are unforeseen consequences of that. Even in terms of the opposition, 25% of the opposition are Islamic fundamentalists. Some of them are affiliated with Al-Qaeda. So I think, again, before we dive into a third war in 11 years, we should understand what the long-term consequences might be.
Is the White House outreach to Congress too little too late at this point?
Look, you're talking about the politics of this stuff. I'm talking about what's happening to the American people. This is not a game. This is a fact that the middle class in this country is collapsing. 14% of our people are unemployed. And what people are saying is, will the Congress begin to address the issues, the enormous issues facing our country, or are we going to be perpetually at war? Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, what's next? Iran. There are kids in this country who have never seen their nation at any time other than at war. So I think what we have to look is not whether the president's going to win or lose, what is the best course of action for the United States. And to my mind, it is that we need the world community to come together to deal with the chemical weapons in Syria, to deal with the terrible quagmire in the entire Middle East, not unilateral action on the part of the United States.
But if this resolution does go down, Congress says they don't want to go into Syria, does it hurt the president with his domestic agenda, which you're talking about?
Right now, you tell me what the domestic agenda is. You tell me before Syria where the effort is to create the millions of jobs that we need. You tell me. You tell me where the domestic agenda is in dealing with global warming and the crisis of climate change. Tell me about the domestic agenda in saying that we have to deal with growing wealth and income inequality.
So you're saying that's undefined as well?
No, I'm saying it's defined. I'm saying Congress is not dealing with it today. And if you think we got sucked into a war, civil war in Syria, do you think we're going to deal with that? I think not. I think that's what most Americans feel.
Senator Sanders, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.